What's up guys, and welcome to a very cool video, in my opinion at least, video on Auras. So this is possibly about the final game in Generation 6, or maybe just a hint to something else, or anything else guys. Basically I'm just going to show you what we have and then I'll talk more about it after that. But I'm in the game at the moment, as you can see. I'm going to be showing you, it's something to do with the Fossil Maniac. So as you can see, just first off, the lady in the Pokémon Center was there. She's about to give me this shiny Beldum. I haven't picked it up yet on this game. This is my personal playthrough. For some reason, I haven't managed to pick it up. You know, I don't know why. But we're going to go and visit the Fossil Maniac. So after the Pokemon League, I think it is, if you go and visit this cave, Roxanne's going to be in here asking for a fossil. He'll turn her down and she'll leave or whatever, and then he just stays here on his own. So if we go and talk to him, he's going to say, fossils are so wonderful, so dreamy, what are you going to do with that fossil of yours? From what I've heard, Devon has been researching to how to restore Pokemon from fossils, but I love my fossils, so I would never do anything like that. So that's basic stuff, you know, just in case you don't know exactly what to do in terms of reviving your fossil. And that was without the shiny Beldum, okay? Without the shiny Beldum. So now if I got the Acrobike, just ignore it. We're now going to head back over to the Pokemon Center, and I'm going to grab that shiny Beldum there, okay? So just going to grab this here. Hello, thank you for the shiny Beldum. This is, as I said, the first time we had the shiny Beldum, you know, I haven't had it before. So now the shiny Beldum is actually in our party. So wait, there's no method of seeing your party now, unfortunately. Anyway, so now we have the shiny Beldum in our party. So we're going to go back and we're going to talk to the Fossil Maniac once more, okay? Wait for it guys, okay? Now this is only going to work if you have the shiny Beldum, or indeed an evolution of the shiny Beldum in your party. I'm not sure if it's any shiny Beldum or Metang or Metagross, or however it has to be the specific event one, but it only works like this. So then if we talk to them, looking at your white Pokemon reminds me of the Devon President's son, so talking about Steven there. I heard he travelled all the way to Kalos, crossing 3 oceans to find the white Pokemon and some kind of stone. Okay, we're going to stay there. The white Pokemon and some kind of stone. The white Pokemon and some kind of stone. What Pokemon is white? Well, there are loads of Pokemon that are white. There are some that are classified as the colour white, and there are some that actually just are white. Okay, so that's really what he says. That's what you'd expect from someone who calls himself a wandering stone collector. So that's it guys. So now if we look more into this, if we go off from the game and look more into the actual stuff behind it. So what could this mean? Steven travelling over 3 seas to get to Kalos in search of a white Pokemon and a stone, okay? A white Pokemon and a stone. So we know that Auras happens before X and Y, we know that much. Because we see Mr. Bonding created in Auras. So we don't know when Steven travels to Kalos, but we're assuming it's possibly before Auras, or maybe after, because he does say, you know, he's travelled. We don't really know, it doesn't make much sense, because then obviously why is he still in Auras, but we're assuming it's happening after Auras, and maybe even after X and Y. Maybe he's just talking about something related to Steven. We don't know, we're going to ignore any sort of time periods in this sense here, because it could get quite confusing there. Anyway, so Steven's searching for a white Pokemon. What Pokemon is white, guys? Think about that. What Pokemon is white? You know, there are quite a few, but what are white? Also, it has to be a special Pokemon. It can't just be any Pokemon. It's not going to go to, you know, it's not going to go to Kalos to look for a Lanoon, for example. It's got to be a special Pokemon, okay? So, think of legendaries, possibly. And then, it's Steven. Steven's interested in Steel-type Pokemon. What legendaries are Steel-types, are white, and are obviously legendaries as well. And, you know, possibly related to a 3rd generation Pokemon or a 6th generation Pokemon, since that's sort of the games we have. All this points towards the one and only Jirachi. So possibly Jirachi is the white Pokemon that's talked about here. Now in terms of the sort of the stuff behind Jirachi, it's said that it doesn't actually have a sort of a location tied to it. Sort of in the description from Bulbapedia, I'm just reading it from here, it says, in the games, Jirachi has never had a concrete location tied to it. It's never been said Jirachi resides in this cave, because it's an event Pokemon. It's always been an event Pokemon. So we don't know whether it could be in Hone, it could be in Sinnoh, it could be in Kanto, it could be in Kalos. We don't have any sort of fixed location. We also know about Jirachi, it's the wish Pokemon, or it's related to wishing, so it grants wishes. And what person in Hone has, not in Hone, in Kalos has a great wish that wants to be fulfilled? AZ. AZ wants his Floette back, okay? He wants to wish for that Floette back. So possibly AZ might have gone on looking for Jirachi at some point during his 3,000 year life to get his Floette back. Possibly, we don't know. So what we know is Steven is going to Kalos to search for a Pokemon. This Pokemon may well be Jirachi because it's white, as the Fossil Man says. It is Steel, which Steven likes, and it's also related to Generation 3 and Generation 6, ties those two in again. But what else is said in that little line there? Okay, what else is said? He's going to Kalos in search of a white Pokemon and some kind of stone. Could this stone be a Mega Stone for Jirachi? We don't know. We don't know whether that is actually what it is or not, okay? So maybe Jirachi is getting a Mega Evolution in the final game in Generation 6, which may be Pokémon Z. I'm going to refer to it as Pokémon Z from now on, just to make things easier. So possibly, this could possibly be an after-game part of Pokémon Z. So you do Pokémon Z, it's to do with Zygarde, etc, etc, etc. Maybe Steven pops up a couple times in the main storyline, we don't know. And then in the after-game, we have the, I don't know what you'd call it particularly, the Wish episode or something like that, in terms of, then you go with Steven and you go and try and find Jirachi, and eventually you find Jirachi and you catch it. Because Deoxys was an event Pokemon before Generation 6. You could catch Deoxys in-game, but you could only catch it for use of an item obtained from an event. So the only way you could get a Deoxys is if you went and got an event, unlocked it via event. But now, in Mega Jirachi Sapphire, you don't have to get it via an event, you can get it in-game. So possibly this could change for Jirachi as well. Up until now, it's been purely events. You have to download it. It's never been actually in any games. So maybe they're going to change that for the final game in Generation 6 too, and make it non-event. So you won't have to actually, get an event for it. It'll just be and part of the game is sort of, I guess, part of the after game, etc. One other Pokemon it could be though, just sort of mention quickly, is Diancie. Okay, Jirachi. It screams Jirachi to me because of the fact that, it's just Jirachi, it makes sense. We haven't had any mention of Jirachi at all yet in Generation 6 or in Oras particularly. There's no mention, there's no hints at it really apart from this, if it is indeed. But the other Pokemon it could be is Diancie, because we know Diancie has a Mega Evolution. We know Diancie has, I guess, a white blouse, and when it's a Mega Diancie it has a bit of obviously a bigger blouse / dress, and I guess, sort of cloths behind it that are sort of white. Obviously, we know it has a Mega Evolution, we don't know for Jirachi. So it could possibly be referring to a Diancie here, and we know Diancie has some ties to the Kalos region already, since it obviously was introduced in Kalos, but we don't know sort of any particular storyline behind Diancie so far, since it's just been an event Pokemon. We don't know any sort of locations where it could be, but thinking about it, if it was actually in game in the final in Pokemon Z, for example, it could be in Reflection Cave, it could be in Glittering Cave, whatever. There is a possibility for it to be Diancie there. I think it's most likely to be Jirachi though, since we've had Diancie. We've had some stuff with Diancie already. We already had an event for Diancie. We have a mini event in X and Y. When you transfer it over to Oras, you have a mini event in Oras. So really, are they going to introduce it as another event for Diancie when we've heard nothing for Hooper or Volcanion or Jirachi for these free sets of games, Pokemon X and Y, Pokemon Oras, and then Pokemon Z as well. We haven't heard anything about Jirachi in the first two games so far. So possibly, I would lean towards Jirachi, to be honest, and maybe Jirachi is going to get a Mega Evolution because of that mention of that stone, guys. We really don't know, but the evidence strongly sort of leans towards that. Also, if you look in the in Jirachi's Pokédex entries, isn't necessarily, I guess, related to it or trying to push it, but in Sapphire and Alpha Sapphire, there is a mention of Jirachi waking up due to a voice singing to it, a voice of purity singing to it. So possibly, maybe, that might relate to it. We don't know. It's only mentioned in Sapphire. I don't think it's mentioned in any of the Pokédex entries. So maybe it's sort of just there, and they're going to build on that. We also know that the champion of the Kalos region, at least in the first set of games in Kalos, is Diantha, and we know she's a singer. So possibly she could maybe wake up Jirachi. She could be with you and Steven when you wake up Jirachi, something along those lines. Because she seems like a very pure person. She uses fairy types, or she's got mainly fairy types, I guess. But she does seem very pure in terms of that. So maybe, just maybe, she will be singing to wake up Jirachi in the after game of Pokemon Z as a possibility, guys. I will look if you guys have any ideas, maybe you've seen some references or remember some references from X and Y about Jirachi that could possibly link into this, or you see anything else in Oras, guys, let me know, or put it down in the comment section below, because I might building this in future videos and see if I can build a bigger case for this and see what else we have. But there's a possibility, in my opinion, that Jirachi could appear in Pokemon Z and get a Mega Evolution, thanks to these few lines of text. That's really what it builds on for me. But guys, I want to know what you think. What do you think about the possibility of Jirachi appearing in Pokémon Z, Steven being there to find it, and obviously Jirachi also getting a Mega Evolution too? Let me know what you think down below in the comment section, guys, and hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. And I guess I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.